So thank you for joining. Thank you for joining me and sir, and to all your students. The most important thing is with hair and fur. So we are going to start off on the hair and fur in the Maya. So I hope you guys have already opened the Maya as well. One of the most important thing to start off with this, that first need to understand that this Xgen is quite a tricky software. So basically this is a plugin into the Maya, but you need to be very careful because if you don't apply some settings, or if you actually make a mistake of missing out some things, then it doesn't work. And then a lot of time you just go back and check and try to find out. So that's why it is very important that you watch it clearly and note down the steps that are necessary. So, okay, and just a quick introduction about myself. So my name is Narendra Keshkar, and I'm a senior 3D artist since last 7 years. So I helped a lot of companies and the studios in UK, US, and the Philippines. So I hope this will help, and you can check out my work in the ArtStation so that it will help you to get an idea that what kind of work I do, right? And I'm going to just to start off with this. The one of the most basic step is, so what we are going to cover in this session is that we are going to discuss about the Xgen, like descriptions and the collection, what these are and how you could use them. Groomable splines, so basically how you can actually edit these hairs, like you need to control it if you want to change the direction, if you want to actually make it as per your requirement. Like you have a concept, you have anything that you want to match your hairstyle with that concept, so that you can do by groomable splines. Modifiers, so basically these are the modifiers, like you can add some effects into the hairs that you have been created, and then you can assign the shaders so that you can actually take the renders of it. And these steps are very important, because what happens, do expect to face the problems in this, because this Xgen is quite buggy. So sometimes you do the right thing, but still you get stuck in something. So you will eventually face these kind of problems. So but yeah, this is a very great plugin, and it helps a lot into the Maya, creating the realistic hairs and furs. Okay, so one of the most important step is here, that first you need to set the project, like I have said. So do not just start working on any file. You need to go to the file and go to the project window, and here you need to create the new. I already set the project, that's why, but you need to create the new, and then set the name of your project and set the location where you want to save it. This is very crucial step, because what will happen while creating hairs, we are going to create some maps inside the Xgen, and these maps need to be saved automatically. So if you do not set the project, they will not be saved properly, and you will not see the results what you are doing. So that's why it is really very important. Okay, so I have set the project, and you guys can set in the same way. So please follow this step as well. So let's start with this. Second most important thing is, if you want to add hairs to anything, your object should be UV mapped. That means you cannot add hairs to any object that do not have the UV. So for demonstration purpose, I'm going to use this sphere. All right, so let me change the scale of it. And I'm going to increase the radius to, let's say, 5. So basically, I just want to make sure about that. Now we can add hairs in this sphere. The reason is that all these primitives already have UVs. So if you want to check it, you can see here. You can see every primitive already being set up as like it already has the UV. So you can actually work on it But in real life, when you want to set a project, like you want to add the hairs to the any head or any face, then you can understand that you need to create the UV, and then only you can actually proceed. All right. Next thing is like I'm going to just hide this. Is there any option that I can just move it? Okay, let me move it here, this side. So I hope this will be fine. All right. So I'm going. One more thing is that I have just opened the outliner and tagged here. So basically, I can see my object, and it will be easy to locate me. And one more thing I need to check, though basically I just want to use this tool setting as well. So basically there will be some tools, and I can check the settings and can edit at the same moment. All right. Now, we want to add the hair into this. Now, how we can do it? So basically, before you want to create any hair, so you need to make a collection. So basically, collection and description is a kind of collection is kind of project, you can say, and the descriptions are going to be sub projects. So basically, if there is an head, you want to create hairs for a character that has at some places long hairs, at some places small hairs, or let's say or beards. So all these kind of hairs comes into one project, and you name it, and this is called collections, right? So we are going to start with this XGen, and I'm going to open the XGen window. So to just demonstrate you, here you can see. So basically, I'm going to create a new description, and yeah, I need to select the polygon surfaces. So whenever you want to create XGen, you need to open this XGen window, then click on the create new description. And here I will just name it for the moment is hairs, and you cannot give the space here. So I'm just giving it as well. So on now I will name it first. So basically you can change the name. So this is your description. This is your main project. So this is your project, and this is going to be your hairs. Okay, and then you check what kind of primitives you want to make. Like, so I'm going to use the splines because these are easy to change. But yeah, you can also add groomable splines that I was talking about that. So we'll start with this first, and then we'll also cover these groomable splines. And then here are some settings. You can check it out. So basically, randomly across the surface. In most cases, we want to set random hairs, because if you put it manually, it will take a longer time. So it just puts the hair strands randomly. So it just saves a lot of time. One of the most important thing is that select this one. So control the primitives by placing and shaping the guide. So basically what it does, when you activate this option, so you can actually edit every single spline manually as well, right? I hope all these are clear to everyone. And then you can click on the create. Keep following me on these steps and do not try to lag behind, right? Now we have created the collection, and already we are on the description. Right now, there is no preview. The reason is that because I have not added any here, right? There are two ways of adding here. I can create, I have already created the description. I will just start adding the guides, right? And you can see there is this brush has appeared, and when I click on anywhere, it will just add one guide. You can change the shape and the size as well. So for now, actually, I can add anywhere, and do not hesitate to add the guides. When you just refresh the look, you see that based on the position of my one guide, it has just randomly placed hair strands accordingly. So we can do a lot of changes into this, right? When you place one more, it just follows along. You can actually increase the density. So when you increase the density, and it just automatically updates into your preview panel. So I can set really high density and I can really go very less. So choose a mid value, whatever works for you. All right, then let's go to the next stage. So basically, when you go down and you see there are some options that you can actually use it. So basically, modify CV count. So what actually it does, when you actually move your mouse, it just tells that it adds the points. So basically, when I have set these 5, so basically in every single strand guide, it will have 5 points. So basically, when I want to modify it, it will be far more easy to move it accordingly or bend it instead when as compared to when I have less number of modifier count, right? So we'll cover this as well. You can increase the length, okay, and you can change the width as well, right? And one of the most important thing is that you see that in the hairs here are not very uniform when you see from the root to the tip. The hairs are thicker onto the root and thinner onto the tip. So this is taper. So when you actually select the taper, you can see the hairs have been started to actually become thinner on the tip side. Okay, and then actually you can also decide where the taper should start. I'm just moving it a bit more this side. So when actually you can actually also decide, because at the moment the taper has started from the root as well, very uniformly, but you can actually select where it should start. So as I move it on the right side, you can see my taper is shifting from the base to the top side on the tip side. So normally hair strand actually gets tapered on nearby your tip side. Okay, and then we will go to the here as well. So you can basically we can add some tilting effect, and we can also move them, and I will also change the width. So basically you can actually what actually it does, it just change the profile of the hairs, but let me keep the width a little less, and I want to increase the density so that it just look a bit better. And you can see this is started looking better. I will increase a density a bit more so that you can see, and I will also reduce the width. So give me a moment. Let's increase a length a bit more, and let's reduce the width 0.4. And you can see it has started looking better. So what actually it already has the properties of hair, like your hairs have the shining material, like where your hairs can shine into and reflect some light. So that's why it already has some properties, and you can change the color as well. What I'm going to do is now we will change, we will actually edit, like how we can edit these splines to change the direction of these hairs, right? So you can see the effect. I can add the spline and it will immediately start taking the lead. If you want to remove it, so let's say if I have added the spline and I want to remove the spline. So you can actually select it, and I will just go it and I will just turn off the hair previews, and I can select it. And you can also turn off these spline views. So basically, if I have created these hairs and I don't want to see these splines, or I want to present it and I want to hide these splines, so I can simply turn it off and then only hairs will be shown, right? But I want to show it, so, and I want to hide these hairs at the moment. Then I will go and go on the right side. You can also do the mirror. We will select that as well. I want to select these specific Alt D. So Alt D is the option to deselect these guides, right? So let me press the Alt D and it should deselect. Yeah, or I'll have to press it accordingly. Anyways, we will cover this as well. So basically, in the primitive, when we go down, we see more things to control. So like a region control. So what is region control? If you have seen like in the hairstyle, we always like make a hairstyle where hairs goes on one side and another side. So there is a one dividation comes. How I should say, let me show you an example. Give me a moment, I'm just opening it and I just want to share the example, like region control. So hairstyle. So this is what I'm pointing to. So when you see the hairs like this, so the so hairs gets divided from one side, and you change the direction of the hairs from one specific location to another side. So these dividations come, and this is called region. So like this is another reason where hairs are small. This is the reason where we have kept the hairs bigger, like on this side, and that actually makes the hairstyle, because here in the hairstyle, hairs are not consistently of the same length. At some points hairs are small, at some points hairs are long, at some point hair density is higher, and at some point hair density is lower, like you can see. So that actually makes the overall look of the style. So this actually affected on the shear. So and we will also create the mask as well, so we can actually add the effects that we want. Right, and I will expand it, and you can see the strands I have added. So you can see every strand is selectable. So I can select it. I can also increase the individual hair strand size as well. You can select, you can reduce the size. So if you accidentally select this sphere, you can deselect and select hair strand just like any object. And you can see the preview immediately at the moment. So where you have increased the hair, increase the spline, the hairs have already been increased into the length. So that's how you can also change the opacity and change the look. One more thing is you can also delete it. For example, if you have created this as an accident and you don't want to keep it, simply expand it and you can simply delete it. Right. On the other hand, I want to increase the length. And now I want to actually edit it. Right. So let me check. So I want to actually modify it. And you can see this has 4 points. So move guides. Okay, one more thing is that I think we can do it from here. So this is the reason, right? So what actually it does, right now I have applied the hairs onto the whole object, right? But you can also select some, you can also select some specific polygons and you can apply the same. So how we are gonna do this? We are gonna select this. I will just disable the hair. And I can select it. So let me actually just turn the visibility off for this spline. And I will actually start going to select the primitives. So you can also select these hairs as well. But obviously you cannot actually change it. So the reason is that still it is a spline visible. So you actually I did the splines. I'm going to just switch off from the object mode. And I want to select its, I want to shift to the face mode. Or let's say on this side, because this we have not selected. And then you can actually append the selected faces to the point faces on the map. Okay, we'll cover this one. So at this stage, actually, we have already created the hairs, and now we are going to how we can actually modify them, right? So this is a random placement, but how if we want to create a hairstyle? So let's again start with this. I will remove these strands and will add some new strands so that we can do it more precisely, right? So let's add the hairs. And let's say we want to actually separate the hairs from here. So I want hairs on the one's direction to the move on the left side and the hairs on the right direction move to the right side. So we make a clear division. So first thing is that I will try to place my guides so that it follows. And then you can see I'm trying to place these in a way so that it just divides one line. So what will happen when you see this? At the moment, these are looking meshed, but what will happen? I will create the region map. So let's go to the down. And one more thing is that here for everything, you can create the map, like for the length, for the width, and for the taper, everything you can actually put the map. I'm going to go into the region control, right? So what we'll do, so I'm going to create a map, region mask, and we'll name it region mask. And this is the moment I had asked you to start set the project, because these maps, when you create, it automatically gets created and you actually cannot have the option to save it. So when you have already set the project, you can actually change the direction. Now, So you can see what I have said is this is the reason. So I'm defining one reason and I can change the density of this area. All right. And now it's region control. You have to save it first. You have to save it this as well. And you can see this still it is not taking the effect. So sometimes you need to do a bit of couple of tries. And let's try out something else. So let's go into the region and create a two different region. Let me create the displacement map first. So what actually displacement does that the density, like you can see
on the saving part again.
Sorry,
Saving part.
saving part. Yeah, of course I will cover. So we will save multiple times because we will create a lot of maps to control how the hairs actually move, right? So we will again save. So what I'm going to create is, so at this moment here is the displacement map, and we can see all these reasons. We can create the maps. For example, I will cover the preview in the later. First, let's finish this one. Into the guides, you can click on the guides length profile. So for let's say if I want to set the length based on the map, so what I can do, I can create the map for this as well. So create this map, then save it, right? And then you can actually paint it. So basically the reason you are painting it, and remember that these maps works only where you have already placed the hairs, right? So let's say if I paint it here, it may not work because I have not placed the hair. So unless I put the hairs in this region, it may not work. That's why it is very important. So I'm going to down, and length profile is already being set. And I have already added the texture, and you need to save it, right? And I can also open it. I can see that where this has been saved, and you can see this is the folder. And I have seen, I just want to check it whether it has been saved or not. So unless it is being saved, it will actually not work. That's the overall problem. So it's a bit of buggy. Sometimes you do the right thing, but it takes a bit of time to show. Looks like it has given some log, and we need to check it, what error log it is giving. So part of PTX, and I'm going to create reset to the slider. Okay, let's try again. So we can actually save it. And yeah, so now it started taking effect. What actually happens here actually, when you go just back. So I just want to actually redo this thing again, so that you can actually, we can just make this process again. What I will do, I will create the map again. We'll name it length. Actually, we are using this for that. And when you actually paint it, and when you actually take the preview, it automatically actually appears. But never mind, if even if it doesn't work, we have multiple options to actually control it. So do not get actually nervous if one thing doesn't work, because we can do it in another way as well. So let's increase the density, and let me create a density mask. So actually I have opened the expression editor. So I'm going to turn it off. I will create another map. I will name it mask density. What is this map resolution? Anyone thought about this? What actually it does, it just gives the resolution, the quality of the mask. So right now we are actually understanding this tool, learning about it. So that's why the quality is lower. But if you want to create a really high quality hairs and with the maximum output, then actually you may increase this as well. Because when we increase the resolution, obviously by logic, it will also impact onto the Maya as well. So if you go to insane value, I think it may actually affect the speed of Maya as well. So always be mindful about that. For us at the starting stage, its 5 value is quite good. And let's create it. Okay, I need to save this as well. Of course, always know this, that you need to save this mask. Otherwise, in the preview, it will not show again. And you can see this. Let me do one thing. We will create one more sphere, and we will use this mask as well. So what will happen? We can redo this overall step. So let me actually get out of it. Let me create another description, not into this one. Poly modeling, and let me add one more object. And we will delete this one piece here for now. And the fur as well, right? So now what actually I want the hairs to actually have varied density. So we'll first create the new description, and I already have add this description to the collection. Placing the shaping guide splines and create. Okay. Now I can add this, and let's increase the density a bit and the length as well, so that we want a bit of some length as well. So what actually I want to show, that if you have added these splines and added the hairs, and let me first change the profile of these hairs. So this is the default hair profile. So this is quite thick. You can actually change the length, and you can actually reduce the width. For the density, you can increase the slider, and it will be quite visible, right? And then go to the bottom section. You can apply the taper as I did, and start tilt around. You can actually play with these settings. Okay, now what I want to show you, that how the density map actually defines your hairlines. So I'm going to here, we have the density 45. Now, if I create a new map, so I have named it masks, map name is mask. I think it should be mask density. So we understand it 0, 1. Just create it. Now see the difference. Okay, I'm going to paint at the region. Let me make like I don't want hairs in this region. So I'm making an area, painting an area. We'll save it, and you can see the moment I save, it just changed the hair density. It just removes it. These hairs are visible because I have not painted it accurately. You can see some areas, some gray areas, and that is the reason it's been there. And when I will save it again, you can see it is just disappeared. So this density actually works when you don't want hair somewhere or you want to create the hairline, right? And then we will go to the modifying, we will actually modify it. So you can hide and show, you can also lock it. You can as also actually they have flipped the geometry. We'll cover these as well. Let's go down and see if we have changed some setting. So one more thing, actually I want to do it. So like as I said that we actually normally hairstyles have we have been some dividing line that actually makes the realistic hairstyle. So let's add one region map, right? So region map, we will create it, create map, name it region, and by default it has 2 colors. Excuse me. So actually I'm going to use it one side with the one color. So what will and another side is already being separated. We were into this region, right? And we will save it. Let me see, we have set it. Yeah. And one more thing is, let me check the region map as well. So this is the region mask. I just want to make this area as a region mask. I know this process is a quite confusing because you create a mask a lot of time, but understand the basic thing. Whenever hairs are placed, hairs will be placed uniformly. And when you want to actually edit them, it will not be possible to edit them directly in many instances. So you can actually edit the splines, but still you want to more control. So, and that's how actually it comes very well. Comes very important, and it helps. So just try to understand, try to just get what actually I'm saying, and I hope this will actually work. This will help. And let's go in here. So one more thing is the modifier. I think this will actually add a bit. So you have multiple modifiers into the hair splines. I think this will be giving you more important, like clumping. So what is the clumping? So here's actually not in this same stage. So basically when you apply the clumping, your hair clump starts grouping together. So like make a kind of bunch. Okay. So clump effect. And you can apply a lot of things like noise, flatness, offset, and curl as well. And I will add one more thing is the gravity. So basically, I think where is the gravity in the directional force? Okay, let's start with the clump. So you can see that in any number of modifiers when I add, it will be added like these layers, and every layer will have its own setting, and these are affected by the mask you can create, right? So I will go and click on the clump and click on the clump effect. Let me just this should be the clump scale, and clump variance should come from here. Okay, one more thing is to notice that, when you want to delete something in here, do not press the delete because your geometry is already selected. So, and if you delete, your geometry will be gone off. So if you want to remove it, you can simply click it and delete like this. And then actually you can create the clump effect, create the map, and I will create the clump. So what actually it will do, it will just, you can actually set these kind of groups. So what actually they will do, they will actually, and there should be a clumping guide as well. We need to add this. I already saved the modifier. Okay, for a moment, I think let's wait for a few seconds. I think because my eyes is responding, and I just want to take you through with all these options. So basically, the point is, I think, yeah, we can actually see this. Now I can see the guides. We are getting some error message. So let me see what exactly saying is no clump guide found on into the collection description clumping. So we will also need to create the clumping guide as well. So how to create it, we are going to cover in this as well. Okay, so let me start with this. First, let's delete this. So we have the splines, we have set our reason, and that's actually what I'm trying to do is, and okay, I think let's do one thing. So we have added this, I have figured it out. So basically, let's start with some editable splines. So we had added these splines that are not, that we are not able to edit it more frequently. Let me create one more collection. So we will delete this collection at the moment, file and delete. We have deleted the collections. Now we are going to do this, like we will create a new description as well. Selected. We have selected this, create new description, and we'll name it. This time we will select these groomable splines, right? And we will again use it. So what is the difference between these and groomable splines? So what actually important is you can actually directly edit here. So basically with the groomable splines, you get some options directly and you can change them. For example, I'm going to select the length and I can actually increase the length. So wherever I actually paint it, it will keep increasing the length. So let's say we want to increase the length on the top side of the head. Okay, and let's increase it here. So basically let's increase the density and change the taper value and the thickness. Okay, go back to the grooming. So now actually I can change the pose. So basically what actually does, it just moves. I can actually comb the hairs like I want. So basically it just helps. So let me increase the density as well. Like this. So you can see at this moment it is not visible, but when I start combing it, it just taking the effect. So by this actually you can actually set the hairstyle. So like the side of the hairs, or you want to move hairs into any specific direction, you can set it. And let's increase the, we already increased the length. Let's increase it a bit more. So you can see the effect that what actually I'm talking about. All right, so you can see in this side, all hairs are completely perpendicular and straight with the uniform placement. But in realistic life, hairs are not like this. So you basically start using them and changing their direction. So you basically use these brushes.